Okay, je m'appelle Kola OLUTIMEHIN and I am speaking in English. I am going to be talking about engaging people in continuous improvement in this session that I'm going to be taking. And what is important to note is that people are our most important resource. We can either make them sad or help them to be happy. And when we make them to be happy and feel involved in decision making, then we get the very best of them, and then we can really be highly competitive in the marketplace. I wish you all a good learning from me.
Je vais passer la parole à Mr Kola. Mr Kola, en tant que qualification, il est un Lean Sigma Master, Master Black Belt, principe 2 certification, principe 2 Agile certification, Chartered Certified Accountant, il est MSP certification, Business Analysis, various certifications, Better Business Cases certification, and various business applications. Donc, la parole à vous. Yes. Hey.
Bonjour tout le monde. Good morning. Je parle un peu français, mais aujourd'hui je parle anglais. D'accord? D'accord. So yes, good morning and good to be here with everybody, and it's wonderful to be back in Tunis. The last time I was in Tunisia was in 2020, just before COVID. And it's always good to enjoy the warmth and the gathering and the people of Tunis. So good to be back here with Zoya and of course all of the fantastic speakers today at the World Quality Day Conference. And I am speaking to you on the topic of engaging working people in continuous environment. And the idea, just as I said, I've said with people a number of times, of continuous improvement is always based around a quality system. And this quality system is made to operate continually. So when you have a quality system, you're operating it continually. And it is established on the basis of what we call the Kaizen, which as I say is a Japanese term. And the Kaizen is talking about continuous improvement, change for good, making small changes and making sure that they are doing well. Okay, so I was not loud before, I just realized that. I thought that was it. So, continuous improvement established that to get quality excellence, we do not just have improvement once and leave it there. We do the improvement with the intention to improve it further and further and further. And it was really good for David Hutchins and I when we did our travel to Sao Paulo's SFAX. And it was good to see a demonstration of them making improvement with plans to further improve on those things. So this is a culture that I'm calling for organizations to begin to adopt. Not only in Tunisia, but everywhere you've come from, and welcome from Congo and all parts of Africa and Europe, which is where we're carrying our gospel of continuous improvement to. We must have repetition in quality to keep improving and making it okay. And in quality system, there are different definitions of our quality system. And in a quality system, let's just say it is the bringing together of processes in a business processes, tools and processes to ensure that the organization's output is what they say it is. I'm just checking, I think Zoe is checking that if you're not speaking English, that you've got the headphones on for translation into Francais. So it is bringing processes together, bringing all the systems of the organization to ensure that we are getting what we say we want to get as our output, whether it is in services or it is in the production of physical outputs, products in which business is set up for. But let us not forget that people put the system together. People will benefit from the output of a system, and people will interact with the system within the organization as well as outside of the organization. So there is people at the center of a quality system. People are very vital in a quality system. So we teach various tools, because this conference is talking about tools that we will use in quality management. And so we teach various tools and techniques that to select a quality control teams. So your organization may have a continuous improvement team. They may have the quality management team. So we're teaching them various things in order to make improvements. For example, we have the 7 basic quality tools. And most of you will know the chart sheet, the cause and effect diagram, and various things around those. So we teach them to specific professions around quality. And we do get fantastic results from them. But what we're saying is there's the potential that it should not be limited to them. There's a potential that we can take them further and get all people involved. One of the key things that you will learn and you will find is the fact that all employees should be involved in quality. Everybody. It's everybody's job. Because when you see something you don't like, someone needs to do something about it. And so it may be you that is needing to do something about it. So it's always good to have all of the tools as much as you can get it. So if organizations are all having teams that is helping them to be better in their quality, how competitively placed are they? How are they competitive? Because your competitor has got a quality management team. They are fixing their quality before it goes out. And so you're all battling for market share. But how can you go ahead of the competition? I'll show you this. Anyone knows Dr. Joseph Juran? You know the name, I guess some of you will do. Dr. Joseph Juran, according to some of the things that I've learned from David Hutchins, he talks about the Pareto analysis, the 80-20 rule, meaning 80% of your results is brought about by 20% of your causes. And so generally, in problem solving, you have the 80-20. The focus of management and your control and quality team is with the 80%. And so every organization is almost dealing with the 80%. But there's something that is being left behind, and there's a 20%. And that, as you can see from the diagram here, you've got management focusing on the 80%, and then we have the worker solvable ones at 20%. So if you want to beat the competition, you need to see how possibly you can enable and engage everybody to be able to do the 20% that management may not even see. Is this making sense at all just yet? Slowly? So how are we going to get these workers involved? How do we get them to be part, to engage in continuous improvement? Let's check the temperature of the organization and about your team. How aligned are your team? How are they working together? What is the state of your workforce? How are they? Do they know the direction of the organization? Are they enthusiastic about that direction? How do they feel? Do they work together? Is there battle between the human resources department and the finance department? Do they link? Do they understand the link? Do they feel they're working for the same one organization, or they're fighting against one another? Are they in alignment with one another? Do the various departments relate with one another? Is there trust and respect, mutual trust and respect? One of the things that I like to talk about a lot, and for those who look at the principles of lean, I always like to say there is a sixth principle. When you talk about lean, we generally talk about 5 principles. But there is a sixth principle which is coming out more, and what the West is now referring to as respect for people. Is there mutual respect amongst people, and is there trust? So we look at team and say, is there competition amongst the employees and departments, like I said before, and does this competition make some people feel like they're losers and others as winners, and does your internal reward system fit this? So we begin to look at how people are being treated, how they are being encouraged so that they can self-motivate and be interested in continuous improvement for their organization. And we know that Maslow's hierarchy of needs, management, know all of these things. How do we help to engage employees? I'm not going to go through it because most people know about looking after the physiology and also engaging them so that they can get to the point where they can be self-actualization. So relating with your employees is now becoming more important in organizations. So how much do we give thought to employee suggestions? In your organization, do you have a suggestion box? If you do, how many people feel that the employees will write a suggestion and put it in that box? How many employees feel that there's no point doing it because nobody is going to be interested in looking at these things at all? So when you're thinking of these things and people are not encouraged to do it because they feel management is not listening, then it's going to affect your productivity. But with a lot of things that I'm learning from what happens in Japan is that, guess what? Well over 90% of suggestions from employees are taken on board and acted upon. And so they feel that they are being listened to. And if they feel they're being listened to, they are interested in ensuring that quality is some of the key things that they are looking at. So, have you noticed that if you make people feel that they are fools, they will say, it's okay, I'm a fool, you make all the suggestions, you make all the decisions, and I'll just do as you say. Anyone notice that? If someone treats you like a fool, you're just going to say, okay, I'll just stay as a fool, it's all right. But if you now make them feel worthy, then they are doing this. Then they're doing this and making sure that they are working towards what you want. Now, Zoya was talking about David's book. And David's book, which is called Self-Managing Work Groups, was only just published round about his birthday in August. Well, republished. Because David Hutchins, like you heard, at the age of 87, by the way, still cycles about 60 miles, still cycles about 60 miles on the roads, and is still as active as anything. The title of the book before was Quality Circles. And all David was going to look at was look at the book and just revise it because that book had been written in 1985. But before we knew it, David had rewritten the book and is now a new book in self-managing workgroups. Now I bring you a quotation from the book where he quotes Kaoru Ishikawa. Kaoru Ishikawa, if you already do know, is known as the father of quality circles. Kaoru Ishikawa was the one who helped to kickstart the first quality circle that started in Japan in 1962. And he said here, our approach to business management, referred to in Japan as total quality management, TQM, is based on the notion that every individual employee is an expert in their job, from the CEO to the humblest member of the workforce, as long as they have been adequately trained to perform their respective roles, and to use the collective thinking power of all our people to make our organization the best in its business, and to bring out man's and woman's infinite capabilities. So what he was saying there is that the approach to business management for Japan is involving everybody, and we want to hear what they're saying. We want to hear their mind. We want their contribution. We want that to be part of what helps us to move forward. Yesterday when we were at dinner with Zoya, he was asking, he said something, he asked something, said, but these days, when we are teaching young people, they lose focus or maybe attention because they're on their phone and they're looking at things differently. And I'm thinking, well, in all honesty, you probably are not engaging them. So we people who now see them as a young one, we've got to say, how do they think? And how can we buy into their thinking? Because if we can buy into their way of thinking, we will get explosive results from that. Do you agree? So, once we start looking at their way of thinking, we can engage them. We don't have to bring them to our way of thinking. So when you're relating with employees, you can begin to establish mutual respect and trust by asking of their opinion in matters that concern their work, especially what's their opinion. We're not just giving them decision, we're asking, we're engaging them, we're making them feel worthy. Take their suggestions seriously so they feel that management is listening. Take a risk and trust in them with certain tasks, and do not make them feel like they have committed the worst blunder when they make mistakes, because guess what? We make mistakes too. We have made mistakes before, and we will still make mistakes. So we should let them and help them get forward from those mistakes. Let's teach them new things. Let's get them involved with problem solving from the beginning. And because I needed to show a tool, I wanted to talk about brainstorming. And brainstorming is used for maybe identifying problems, or maybe it is we're looking for the causes of these problems, or maybe we're trying to identify solutions. So we can use brainstorming for a number of things. But the conduct of brainstorming is if you bring the people together, you want to make sure you have a flip chart that everyone can see in order to record what people are saying. And we don't want to discuss what they're saying at that time. We don't want to say no to anybody. We just want to hear what they're saying and encourage them to say what they want to say. We don't criticize others, and we can use, for example, the 5 W's and 1 H, which is what is it, when, where does it happen, why, who, and how does it happen, how do we recognize it, various things. We can use all of those things. And in brainstorming, we can follow some of these steps, gather the group together, be clear on what we want to do, and then just pass through each person. What do you have to say? What do you have to say? If that person doesn't have anything to say at that point, then they say pass, move to the next person, and they may have something to say next time. And once we've written all of those things, then we consider what they're saying and begin to analyze each one and know how we go around in order to do it. How much time do I have left? 5 minutes. Brainstorming can kick things off, but it is only the start. Again, I quote Karol Ishikawa, where he says, the American system of management, way of management, manages its people is not relevant to our culture. Our workforce consists largely of people who have transitioned from small agricultural family businesses where their opinions were important. They resent being treated like robots. We cannot revert to the old craftsmanship system because it is uneconomical, but perhaps we can reintroduce craftsmanship to groups of people. And so basically, he was saying that in the American system of management, managers manage and people do. But he's saying we don't want that because we don't want people to come to work, park their brains at the gate, go to work, do as they've been told to do, and when they're leaving, pick up those brains and continue to lead in the communities that they are engaged in. That let us use those brains and we will get a better result for our organization. David Hutchins also says, as we came in through the 1970s, I became increasingly concerned about two major problems in our industrial society, both of which prompted me to take a closer look at quality circles. I formed the belief that Western approaches to quality control based entirely on quality assurance were fundamentally wrong. And whilst there had been a widespread awareness of the need for greater work involvement or participation, we have never been able to find a satisfactory vehicle that is attractive to all levels of groups within an organization. And so he was using this to buttress his point that we need these little groups of people that we are allowing to do the worker solvable problems. And so Japan has an approach to quality which is tried and tested, and they passed the baton to a number of organizations. And when quality circles started to gain ground, in 1966, Dr. Joseph Duran said, this quality control circle movement that I am seeing, it's going to take Japan, sweep them to quality leadership around the world. And we are seeing that, and we're still seeing that. And guess what? We're seeing China, the change in China. China took it from Japan, and so quality circles did go all over the place. And so David and I were working closely to ensure or to enable quality control circles to take root again around the world as much as possible, in Africa especially, and not just Africa, in Europe again. It started in Europe, but we want to see it happen again because the West are not doing the way we want to. And so he wrote this book and said, my goal in writing this book is trying to make everyone feel good about work tomorrow. Look forward to going to work, and not the monotony of what you're doing, but because you're contributing even more than that. But also for everyone, not only for you, but also for everyone else, especially those whose enjoyment of life and work is influenced by your management approach, enabling people to be part of what is going on in work. And so one of the things that we're doing, because we're so sold out to what is going on in Japan, is we are together, David and I, taking a group as much as possible. We've only just started talking about this. In May next year, May 12 to 24, we are taking a group to Japan to learn more of some of these things that we are doing. And right now, my time is up, and it's really good to be here.
Merci. Alors, ce que je vous propose, wait a minute. Ce que je vous propose, on termine avec 3 interventions, puis on ouvre la discussion. Oui ou non? Oui, c'est bon. Okay, thank you, Kola. Kola, thank you. We'll come back to discussion. Okay?